I so this okay. So okay, quickly. So this session is just to show you all the recent developments that we have made, and now we are able to get AI evaluations done on the assistants that you have created from Glyphic itself. So we had done a session on AI evaluations around last year, but that was more about explaining the concept. So I'll touch briefly upon the concept as well, and then show you all how we can do it in Glyphic right now. And yeah, like that is like the major overview of today's session. And then we can connect later on if you need help on doing like a slightly more advanced stuff. So today's agenda is what are evals like. I'll just quickly go over this thing in case some of you are new, not aware of what it is and why we need them. And then some other like concepts associated with AI evaluations, which is like a golden set of question and answers. What is it? What we should ideally have in golden set? What is the process of running the eval? What is the results we are getting right now out of the eval and how to interpret them? And then we'll do a quick walkthrough. At any point, if you have any questions about something that I'm talking about, just feel free to raise your hand and like let me know. Our team members, like sadly, no one is able to join today. So if you're like, if I don't catch your attention, if you raise your hand, just feel free to like unmute and share also. That's also fine. And also, if you type a question and share, and if I'm not able to get to it, then also just in that case, please just unmute and share so that you don't have to wait too long before I get to ahead. But yeah, right now, a lot of us almost like just to give you an overview, about 150 orgs are using Glyphic. Out of that, close to 70, 80 are using AI enabled flows quite extensively. So one of the frameworks for responsible AI is to make sure that we are able to catch harmful and inaccurate responses before it actually reaches the users, and from that perspective build trust with your beneficiaries, with your partners, because you're going to need help to expand, and obviously any partner that you share this product with will want to know that it is not going to guide in the wrong way. There's also a need to reduce bias because we know a lot of the AI models are not trained on Indian context. So in order to catch those bias, especially culturally sensitive information, in order to capture that before it reaches like that limit, and then for us to improve at a faster pace without needing a lot of manual review of each answer or every time you make a change, like going very minutely in the details. So that is the overall, like the need for evals and what role eval plays in, like AI evaluations play in, especially for our context where we are creating AI assistants, we are giving it our knowledge base. We have a certain specific context which the users are coming from, and those questions where it has to answer and where it does not have to answer. So like considering all these things, this is where we see a high need for evals, and that's why we have tried to bring it in into the platform itself, so it's easy for us to do. And then like we know the need for it. There's also like many different types of eval. So this umbrella is like it's huge. There are like lots and lots of different things that we can evaluate on AI. Some examples are like it can measure similarity, like how close two pieces of information are. Like if we can run an evaluation, we can get how similar two answers are. We can run an evaluation and we can get a score of how correct an answer is. And by correct, we mean is it factually correct? No errors. Everything that is shared in the answer, it's present in some reference material. Is it complete? Does it completely answer the question of the person? Maybe sometimes people ask two, three questions together. So is the AI able to answer the assistant that you have created? Is it able to fully, completely answer to the user? Sometimes, like even if a question is asked, maybe it has given half the information. Maybe like whenever there's like practical implementation steps needed. So completeness is one other aspect. Then especially in the RAG settings, basically retrieval augmented generation, which we are all doing, where we are giving its knowledge base. And so faithfulness, as in like, does it stick to what the source document says without adding some hallucination, without adding unsupported claims? So this is also another aspect. And like this, there are lots and lots and lots more. So there can be like hundreds of different evaluators, and we can come up with our own, like things on what we wanted to evaluate on. There are different types. But before I go ahead, like what I would like to say is right now in Glyphic, out of the box, we have enabled for the first one, similarity. And from our initial experiments, we have found that once, like at least start get doing evaluations of similarity, and slowly we are able to add all of these things based on what is the use case that your organization is trying to solve. We are able to add custom evaluators based on this one. So 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 the idea of this session would be that you get familiar with running an evaluation cycle once. You run an evaluation cycle once on the assistants that you have created, and then based on those needs, we can also add more based on each use case specific. We can, and org to org specific, we can recommend what else makes sense for your organization. Before I go ahead, I would also see if there's any questions, anything you want to like discuss over here. Like maybe I can wait for 10 seconds. If no questions, you can also like let me know in the comments. No questions, and we can go ahead. For
Okay,
some of you all,
Tejas,
yeah,
I am not sure how to raise my hand here, so I'll just
that's
unmute
okay.
and ask.
Yeah.
Can there be mixed evals, meaning not just similarity and correctness, but a mix of it, where we evaluate all the, let's say, four things that you've shared on screen?
So ideally you want to get one score. So like you can run an eval and get multiple scores. So we'll get to this later, but ideally it's like one score should give you an indication of one thing. So what you can have is like when you run an evaluation run, you can get a score of similarity, you can get a score of correctness, you can get a score of faithfulness. So that based on that, then you can take a call what needs to improve. So we'll get to that, but yeah, in a sense, yes, but it won't be like one common score. It'll be like two, three different scores, but you get it all in one shot. But yeah, we'll get to that. Thanks for your question. Yeah, we'll get to that. Any other questions? Otherwise, I'll quickly go ahead. Cool. So we'll get to a lot more details. Feel free to unmute and ask if there's any questions. But this is what we should already have. Like since it's been almost a year and a half, some of like majority of you who are joining here would have um, started using AI enabled flows. So what you must already have is a knowledge base. You should have a like your AI assistant on Glyphix should already be set up. So in that you have added a knowledge base, you have added a prompt. This is an instruction on how the AI should answer. You have added a model, you have selected a model, and there's a temperature. By this time, you should also have majority of NGOs have also done some sort of pilots there, or they're already using it with some of the beneficiaries that you have. So you must also have user generated questions. That means how the on ground folks are interacting with your chatbots. And if not end users, you must have some internal test team members who have tried it out. And if not, you should get them to try it out so that you have like a bunch of user like actual questions which someone is likely to ask on the WhatsApp chatbot. So this is what you must already have. So I'm going to share once we have this, what we need to have more in order to be able to run evals and interpret the scores. So the process of evals is you have these things already, knowledge base, you have the prompt, you have model, you also have some questions and answers that the users have asked. What we need to do from those user generated questions is to arrive at something called as a golden set of question and answers. So think of these as an ideal answer that a human would give to a person who have asked this question. So golden set of questions must be ideally like questions that users have asked, like in their language, in the way they are likely to interact, and a set of answers corresponding to those questions, what a human is should answer in the most ideal case. So this is this golden set is what you need to create in order to be able to run the eval. And we run an eval on these two aspects. You have the assistant ID and you have the golden set. Once these two things are there, then we are able to run an eval. And right now, what we get on Glyphic is something called as a cosine similarity score, which gives you an idea about how close an answer generated by the AI assistant that you have is to the ideal answer that a human would have answered. So this is what you write over here. So this is essentially what is the what you get right now. A score between 0 and 1. 0, which means it's far away from your ideal answer. 1 means it indicates that the answers are close to your ideal answer. I'll again pause here if there's any questions, and things might get slightly more clear as I go ahead, but I'll just pause here for 10 seconds. Okay, so basically the major aspect of this, what you need to focus on is the golden set of question and answers. So this is the basically the crux of in order to have good eval results, what we need is a good set of golden question and answers. So think of these set as questions that an end user is likely to ask. So as we know, like they may not ask the most like well-formed questions. Like as you are creating a flow, you like like when you are creating the AI, you will ask exact questions like, "Hey, how can I get help to for my next internship?" Or I'm in 12th standard. I want to look for opportunities in this career, etc. So end user may not ask exactly these type of questions. They may ask in English. They may ask in like incomplete questions, or they may ask even sometimes random things. So think of try to frame questions that the end person, like the final user is going to is likely to ask, and if possible like get a list of those questions which they've already asked. Then draft answers which you would want to, which are ideal in a way that this is the exact way you would want it to answer. You can always take help of AI in doing this, but then try to see if you can modify it so that you are like getting close to how you want it to answer eventually. And ideally should cover 3 4 types of questions, which means there is like knowledge. And knowledge questions are essentially like, so I'll get to the categories of questions, because ideally we want to test AI under different circumstances, not only just for questions which are like happy scenarios like that the user are likely to ask, but also simulate those questions which are good, which may cause unsafe answers. So as we know, end users, they may ask about random topics, not just related to your area of not just the topic that you are reaching out to them for. They may, if there are young people, they may try to also like get more creative and try to ask even more like unsafe questions. So all those things you can like, so there are categories to look out for, which we should be aware of. So a good AI evaluation should also include those categories, because that is the major thing you want to catch before it reaches the end users. So some of the categories are like, one is obviously like knowledge. Is it able to convey the knowledge to the person when they have asked for information? So for an example of chatbot that is trying to resolve queries of maternal health and child, like just information based queries like, what are the symptoms of anemia during pregnancy? Again, this is just information, this is knowledge, which should be contained in your knowledge base, and ideally it answers from there. Next is practical situations about how can you transform the knowledge into action points are specific to your to the person who's asking those questions. So yeah, like some examples are, I'm 3 months pregnant and I have missed the last two appointments. What should I do? Again, so these are like taking the knowledge and then giving them practical steps to do something about it. So practical situation is something you should have questions that cover practical aspects. Then obviously unknown, not of scope questions like is my baby weak, or like in your case it could be something else. Then there are some questions that check the safety or guardrails, like in this case the NGO and in India we generally don't want to reveal the gender. So similarly, like these questions should have like a fallback answer that you should have given for your in the prompts of your AI assistant. Out of topic questions, like some other thing where there is like maybe slurs, or maybe there is some other type of harmful information that is getting asked. So those type of questions should be there. And then incomplete questions like incomplete questions, as in like people are just likely to ask like like in one or two sentences, not exactly frame the question. So think of as you're drafting golden set of question and answer, these are the important categories, and ideally like 5 6 7 questions in each of these categories is a good enough place to start, so that you have an idea of like how AI is responding, and make corrections accordingly before it reaches those end users. I'll also pause here quickly if there's any questions. Okay, so once you have the questions, what you get is you get a score of similarity. So for a set of question and answer, you will get a score like I explained from 0 to 1, and all it is conveying a score. What it conveys is how close the AI generated answer is to the ideal answer that you have written down. So in this case, there is this question of what is Glyphic, and there's an ideal answer like Glyphic is a platform that enables nonprofits to communicate with their communities through WhatsApp. And there are three texts. So clearly, an evaluation run between on these three texts. The third answer, Indian multinational company that provides an online platform. This is going to give a very low score, because these two text, ideal answer text and the text three, are very far apart. There are like no common. This the meaning of these sentences is altogether different. Whereas text one and text two will give very close score. Glyphic is an open source platform, enables nonprofits to communicate, and the text two, which is digital tool that helps social impact organizations. So the meaning of text one and text two is very close to ideal answer. So these two will have a slightly higher score, and the score will be quite similar. So essentially, the similarity score comes down to helping you weed out the most, like whenever AI is giving like fully inaccurate answer. So that is how we are trying to say you should try to use this. Look for the scores which are like low, and try to take away implications on what you can change. Once you run the eval, this is what you will get. For each question and answer, you will get an LLM generated answer. This is the answer which has been generated by your assistant, and a cosine similarity score. So something like this is what you will get once the eval run is completed, and you should be able to see the result. I'll quickly show you a link of how. Can you all see the Google Sheet that I'm on?
Yes.
Yeah, they will.
Okay, thanks. So essentially, I'm just like right now just showing you the result of what it will look like, and after this, I'll go into the process. But essentially, this is the golden set of questions, and this is the golden set of answer, like the answers that I had written for these questions, and then this is the AI assistant answer for which I ran the eval. And what I get for as a result of the eval is this like a Google Sheet type of a format where there is a question answer, there's an AI generated answer, and then a score. which compares how this answer is, how similar this answer in column D is to column C, and this is the score. And ideally, once you have it in this format, you should be able to do some sort of like analysis by putting together the chart and see, like is the scores for which questions the score is low, based on that what you need to change. And obviously right now this is close to a very ideal setup, but then you should look out for questions that are rating below 0.2, 0.3, 0.4. Anything below that will be is something that you should be aware of and try to check what can be improved. So this is what the results look like. Um, I'll pause here for a minute, but yeah, essentially focus on the scores which are below 0.5. And many times it could be that the reference answers that you have given, that may also need to change, because sometimes, like obviously none of us have the patience anymore to write ideal answers. So we'll take AI help to write even the ideal answers and then review it manually. So just look at both the things. If the score is below 0.4, look at what the references are. Is there any need to change the ideal answer itself? Is there a need to change the knowledge base that you have given? Is there a need to change the way AI is answering by changing the prompt? So all these things can be looked at. So focus on scores at a lower end, that will help you to improve. And one other thing to keep in mind is the range of good scores. Like we can't guarantee if it's like 0.6 is above, like 0.6 or above is good, or 0.7 above is good. There is there's no like it has to be 0.7 or 0.9. This is like this evaluation, this result is likely to weed out the very inaccurate answers. But based on use case, the what is the highest score that can be attained can vary. So we have observed that with some organizations, like which scores about 0.6, 0.7 in that range, they are acceptable. But in some cases, it can even go to 0.8, 0.9, because it is a very minor task that the AI has to do. Sometimes it has to do like a slightly longer task, give a more descriptive answer. In that case, the ideal scores could vary. The larger thing over here to keep in mind is keep the questions so that you catch harmful responses, catch the inaccurate responses. So put those questions, keep those questions as priority also, and see what questions will bring out the bias, and like try to catch that so that you are able to improve the prompt and improve the knowledge base. Uh, this is our overall what yeah Ayushi?
Yes, they just my question is, since the non-deterministic nature of
Yeah,
LLMs,
yeah,
I suppose in the first run of
yeah,
eval, I get a cosine score of similarity score of zero point 0.4. But when I run that again, it jumps to 0.8 or something like that, right? Or it goes or it decreases significantly. In
yeah,
that case, how do we determine what is the actual sort of truth, or what do we consider as the final number?
yeah,
And what
yeah.
is the number of sort of turns we should not do or do to arrive at a conclusive score or a conclusive turn?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so non-deterministic nature, I agree. I will share with you how we can determine, like you don't have to run the same thing like two, three times to do that thing. There is a way in which we can cover that. But essentially, like it wouldn't be so dramatic unless you change something in your prompt or in your knowledge base, right? Like a score, like an average, like for example, we have this result, CSV, right? Like let's say we have this result, and this question, what is the difference between RAM and ROM, like whatever, like this question, let's take that for example. in whatever case, this LLM answer will be based on your prompt and your knowledge base. So unless you change it drastically, the likely answer is going to be uh, like so this answer is determined by how many, like what your knowledge base and what your prompt is. And if you so unless there is a dramatic change, I don't anticipate that if you run the same question three times, you might get three different, like three largely varying scores, unless there's something changing in the prompt or in the knowledge base drastically, or in the
And
temperature. Yeah.
understood. This sounds good. And let's say I've run 3 times. Do I take a mean and find out the final score?
Yeah, yeah, ideally. So, I mean, I'll get to that. You don't have to run three times. Essentially, there is something there is something with which you can simulate this as well. So I'll get to that. But ideally, yes, and ideally, like you can try to see wherever, like you can try to take the mean, but if the score is dramatically low, that is when you should be concerned on why is it low and how to change that. Like if it varies from 0.8 to 0.85, that's okay. If for same question you're getting like first time 0.8 but second time you're getting 0.2, that's when, or like 0.3 or 0.56 even, that's when you should be concerned, like because there shouldn't be such a drastic change. In which case, there are strategies to handle, like by changing the temperature or changing, like giving it more strict instructions on how it should answer, the formatting, the language, the tone. In that case, you should be able to handle through that. Um, I hope that made sense. We can go ahead. Cool. So, uh, okay. I think I'm on the wrong tab here. But yeah, I think now I'm on the slideshow, right?
Yes, you are.
Okay, okay, thank you. Cool. I think as you would have seen over the last couple of months, we have introduced new UI on the AI assistants page, where you can either create a new assistant or update an existing assistant, so that there are new versions created of your assistant, and all the any previous changes that you have made, those are retained. So like any new change retains, creates a new version. And what we are hoping this will encourage is that before you start using any new change that you have made in your AI flows, before you start using that, you can run an evaluation. You can analyze the result, and then you determine whether the results are aligning with the change that you have made. And until the time you're confident that there are no more changes needed, the AI is answering close to your expectation, and then you make the new version live. And till then you try to like determine before making any and hopefully this is helpful to like before you start reaching more and more scaled users, uh, more range of users, you should try to have evaluation results. Try to capture all those cases where it's not working, try to improve, so that when you have those like it doesn't catch you by surprise, and the chatbots that you have created, those are not answering in a harmful way. So this is what we are trying to work towards with our angels. This is one of the aspects of responsible AI deployment, and we're also trying to work out a few other things like guardrails in the coming months. But for now, this is where we are. I'll quickly give a walkthrough of this. Uh, by what I mean by, yeah.
Tejas, I just have
Yeah.
one question before the walkthrough. In the
Yeah.
eval process, there is this duplication factor 125, right? Does
Yeah.
that, so we've tried all of them, but should that change? What is the ideal number? What is the rationale for it?
Hmm. Hmm. I'll get to it. Yeah, I mean, I can answer that, but if you don't mind waiting for like 5 minutes, I'll
Yeah, yeah,
get to
no
that.
problem.
Okay, cool. Thanks. So the process of eval, so all of you will have these assistants that are created, right? And each of these assistant within that, when you go, there'll be like different versions, because based on any new change that you make, like a new version gets created. And before you make a version live, we are hoping that you will run an evaluation and see the result, and then decide to make it live, or like, and when you make it live, that's when that version's assistant starts answering in your flows. So the assistant ID doesn't change in your flow, because you are always using, in your caller webhook, you're using the assistant ID. This doesn't change. Only in from here you can control which version of this assistant is answering. So there's a version 6 which has like this bigger prompt of this CS tutor CS tutor assistant, whereas there's a version 1 which has just like this small prompt. You're a CS tutor, like, again, this is a very rudimentary use case just for an example. But ideally, there is like, if I want to decide whether I should make version 6 live, I want to be able to run the process of evaluations and see whether removing some files, adding this new prompt, changing the model between the versions from GPT 4.0 mini to 4.0, what are the, like, impact of that on the answers that it is giving. And so for that, we have introduced this AI evaluation. I think from last week, this should be available. And in case it's not, you should have, this page should be ready, and there should be a like enable evaluations request page that should be there. So it should look something like this. Um, we would request you all to. Okay, it's not there right now, but we would request you all to like ask for enabling the request. The reason that we have done this is because it requires some amount of manual setup on our end, and it would not have been possible to do for everyone at the same time. So as and when more and more orgs start to use it, you can ask for us to enable the feature, and it takes less than 24 hours for us to do it, to make the setup and enable, and as soon as it's done, this page should be available for you to create a new evaluation. And this is where you can see list of all the evaluations. So for your organizations, when you do it for the first time, they should be empty. You should start by creating a new evaluation. Ideally, the first step is to upload the golden set. And here is where you need to, there's a template given, so you can kind of like see, all it needs to have is a question and an answer. So all the golden questions go here, and then respective answers go here. And you should be able to download this as a CSV and then import it in the Glyphic platform. And once imported, you can then reuse it again at any later point. So remember when we had spoken about categories, you can think about creating, let's say, like 3, 4 different sets of golden question and answers for different categories. So I can have like one category which is purely just asking, like like these safety or like out of scope questions. So anytime I make a change, I can quickly run through that one and see, like any further changes not impacted the way it is handling unsafe questions. Similarly, for like, you can create separate golden sets, and yeah, like have them imported, and you can choose any one during when you're running an eval. Sorry, and coming to the point of um, um, your duplication factor. So this is okay. Let me just try uploading a golden question and answer. So let's say I download this as CSV. This is obviously a dummy file right now. I can choose to have this as the golden question and answer. And then there's a duplication factor. So duplication factor essentially recreates that, like, we know that when you ask the same question 2 times or 3 times, the AI is not likely to give the same answer again and again. So duplication factor, this is what it does. So you have like a, let's say you have 10 questions in this sheet. A duplication factor of putting it as 2, what it will do is it will duplicate these the 10 questions 2 times. So eventually this sheet which I name, let's say like CS tutor, uh, uh, 2. So this will have all the questions repeated 2 times. And if you do 3, that will be repeated 3 times. If you do 4, it will be repeated 4 times. And when you use this, when you use this particular duplicate, the golden set, each question will be asked that many times, and you should be able to see answers for each question, like question ID one, ID. So that many, the question will be have like that many IDs and that many answers, and then you can see like the average score for each, like when the same question was asked 2 times or 3 times, how did the AI response change and what was the delta change in scores. So that is the main utility of the duplication factor. Ideally, start off with duplication factor 1 till you get till you are able to get that confidence that okay, it is definitely not answering in an unsafe way. Our prompt is fine, our knowledge base is fine. And then you can try to have it like up to duplication factor of 3 or 4, however it makes sense. But I don't know, maybe beyond 3 to 5, it's just be like cognitive load to even make analysis of this one. So essentially, that's the value of duplication factor. Um, I think
Yeah, thank you.
yeah. So yeah, Avanti, like for your use case, depending on how, like, like what it is, duplicate. I mean, the idea would be like you start with one, you get a sense of how, like catch the questions that are at a lower end, and then you can increase the duplication factor. Gautam, to your question, what's a good number of times to repeat duplicate? Once you
Got your
have a
answer. Got your
yeah,
answer, sir. Thanks.
okay, thank you. Yeah. I mean, that's what we have been trying to like do with orgs, because but yeah, we are open to like also learning as you use it. So please feel free to share if there's some more information that can help. But essentially, that's how we've been doing it. Yeah, so once we have the questions, then we can go into selecting the assistant and make sure that we select the right version for which we want to run the eval, and then give it any name. Um, and that essentially starts the eval run. And right now this is failing, something is off, but for you it should not fail. It will show a status of started, and it takes about 40 to 45 minutes to run. We are using a low cost alternative right now to make sure that we are able to cover as many orgs as possible at the lowest cost possible. So it does take a little bit of time, but once the evaluation is completed, you should be able to download results. And the downloading of results does the same thing. It downloads the result, which looks like question ID, the LLM ground truth answer and the answer and the score. And it downloads it in your local laptop, but then you can use any of the other Excel sheets or spreadsheet tool that you have, so that you are able to then bring it into Google Sheet or an Excel sheet, and from there like work on it with your team members, because yeah, like yeah, hope surely no one person will be able to analyze all the questions and answers. So that is the workflow that you can try to adopt. Here you can see there's a duplication factor of 3, so each question is repeated 3 times. And there's a question and there's a golden answer, and then there is a AI answer. This is in Hindi for those folks. Sorry about that, but just to give you an example. So as you can see over here, there is like minor change in the question, in the answers, right? Like as you can see, like the first one is only like few lines. There's a thing that increases, and then with the third one also there's like a slightly longer answer. So these are the changes, but overall, if you see, the cosine similarity is like quite similar. So unless we seeing that there's a like there's a need to not share so much information, that is when we can then give more explicit instructions that hey, answer only in three sentences or four sentences or things like that can be done. Yeah, that is majorly the overview of this webinar. Um, I'll pause if there's any questions. The main call to action from here would be that if you haven't enabled, if you haven't requested for access, please do. It'll take us 24 hours, but we'll do that. And if you can, I mean, our nudge would be to start putting together golden questions and answers. And yeah, like reach out, like if there is some ways in which we can collaborate to also like increase the list, help you evaluate the results. And if there's any more further analysis that needs to be done specific to your use case, we'd be happy to collaborate. But yeah, I'll pause here for questions, and if not, I'll also start like a quick feedback. So please drop a feedback before you drop off.
Quick question, sorry, Tejas, on
Yeah, so go
you said
ahead.
the other types of evals, right? Similarity, correctness, completeness, faithfulness.
Yeah.
If we want to run one of those, should we get in touch with you, or how should we do that?
Yeah. So, if you, yeah, you can get in touch with us right
Okay.
now. Within the next 2 months, we are going to introduce one more evaluator out of the box. So people don't have to like spend that time to figure out what needs to be done. But
Hmm.
the way we have done the setup is that any org, they can, we have created individual projects for each org in a third party account service called as Langfuse. So we are able to do even like custom evaluators, like something specific to your organization. We have created under a free trial account, no, not trial, but a free tier of Langfuse. So one member or a group ID from your team can be added to that account, and then you can do like a lot more advanced stuff on that if you have the willingness and the, like just the thing to do that. So yeah, if you want to do any more advanced stuff, you can feel free to reach out to us, and we can try to like guide you on how you can do that.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, just before we drop off, folks, I also am taking questions, but I'll also see if you can just wait for a minute. I'll figure out the way to start the feedback.
Tejas, I can do that by then. Like you can continue answering the questions.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, I usually will share the recording of the session. Also, yeah, like maybe I can wait for a few more questions if anyone has. Avanti, if I may ask, which organization are you from?
So we've signed one as BTG Legal Services, and
Okay.
the other one is Setu, but it's all sort of part of the same.
Okay, cool. Okay, yeah, okay. Thanks. I think, yeah, we can, you can reach out. Like, I think, yeah, for any, like more advanced stuff, we should be able to help you all out. Yeah, I think feedback should be live. If you have any more questions, you can feel free to share. If not, we'll share the resources of this. There's also documentation on the how to frame golden questions and answers, which you can find in the FAQ section. It's called about golden question and answers. It has a detail, I mean, like it has the list of what I shared, what are the points to remember while creating golden questions. There's also like a final review checklist. So yeah, please go through this, and please like raise the request to enable evals in case it's not done. So we should be able to do it for you all. Yeah, here for questions, in case you need to speak more. If you have filled the feedback, you can feel free to drop off.
Thanks, Tejas. Thanks, Krishna.
Thank
Looking
you so
forward to the
much.
access.
All right.
Thank you. This
Gautam,
was helpful.
you have requested access
Yes,
from which account?
from both Quest and community.
Okay, okay, cool. Yeah, yeah. I think
Awesome.
within a day it should be done.
Yep. But thanks for calling that out. Makes life very clear, when you're getting things.
Yeah,
Good
yeah.
session, Tejas.
Thank you. Half
They're
of it
giving
is
you, was
your
this getting
feedback.
recorded?
Yeah, it's
Recorded
getting.
or? Okay, okay. Then I won't crack any jokes. Thank you very much. Bye bye.
It's your session only, Gautam.
No, no, Tejas. Hi, Krishna. Okay. Bye bye. Sorry, it's
Hey,
recording. Bye bye.
GB.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
It's okay. Bye. Take care.
Stop recording, no, then.
I don't know how to. Okay, yeah, it stopped
Oh, good
recording.
God. Okay, Krishna, feedback. I want